Welcome to Damn Good Marketing Podcast, where we ditch the fluff, cut the BS, and get real about what actually takes to market your business like a freaking pro. I'm your host, Shelby Clement, Louisiana native, two-time boy mom, and the founder of Shelby Clement Marketing, a social media agency built for small-town entrepreneurs with big-ass dreams. I left corporate where I was underpaid and underestimated, built a multi-six-figure business from the ground up, launched a sold-out marketing event, and created this podcast to give you the truth behind growing a brand online without losing your mind or your values. This is for the ones who are tired of spinning their wheels, ready to show the hell up, and finally market with confidence, clarity, and consistency. So if you're ready to grow, get bold, and to build a brand that actually turns heads and opens doors, let's do the damn thing. Listen, your hair deserves main character energy. And at Studio KP, they don't do boring. They do bold blondes, effortless color, and styles that make strangers ask, where did you get your hair done? Founded by Casey Pirelli, total boss, mom, and beauty industry powerhouse, Studio KP is where luxury meets real talk. They specialize in custom color, seamless extensions, and creating confidence. Think wine, music, stylists who get it, and the kind of energy only women-built spaces can bring. Oh, and Casey didn't stop at just her salon. She launched Crew Hair Care, her own line of professional products and luxe extensions, so you can keep that Studio KP magic going at home. Follow Studio KP NOLA and Crew Hair Care to get in the vibe and book your next look at studiokpnola.com. Because this isn't just a service, it's an experience your hair has been begging for. Everybody, welcome back to Damn Good Marketing Podcast. We have Jillian freaking Murphy here. Like, what?
What? I'm so excited. Like, who would have thought I had to fly here to get on your damn podcast?
I know.
But I'm so excited.
Wait, you were on my podcast like a year ago. It was like we barely knew each other. It was like amateur hour.
It was totally amateur hour. And now we're like in the house together. Like, we were having so much fun. It's been like a great 48 hours together.
You literally been here for 48 hours, y'all. I was like, hey, girl, I'm kind of crazy. I batch my content like in one day. Do you want to fly in? But then it happened to be with my free event.
Yeah.
Then our networking group that you poured in. So much freaking goodness. I can't wait to like dive into the interview aspect of this. Can you give like a little spill? Like those of you that do not know her, which you need to know her. Can you tell everybody who you are?
Yeah, well, thanks to Shelby, I'm now considered a sales monster. So,
like when I tell you monster, and then she's like, "Wow, I'm glad you just called me a monster." I'm like, "Well, I mean, it works." So hey, savage. I'm gonna call you a sales savage.
I'm here for sales savage.
SS.
So
Go.
amazing. So I was in the corporate sales space for 25 years, managed like huge sales teams, moved to the corporate space or online space about 4.5 years ago, where I've helped over like 1,000 business owners, personal brands, brick and mortars, all niches, all industries, all income levels, because sales is truly like the oxygen of your business. And I absolutely love it. And I was actually coined the sales queen for many years, but I think I'm going to own a sales monster now.
Or savage.
Savage.
Whatever you feel.
Ninja.
I feel like with the Jordan shirt and the Nikes, you maybe need to go after like savage.
Yeah, I'm not really queen. Savage, ninja, monster.
Okay, wait, you literally just like sped right through all of that really fast. I'm going to back up because like the people that are listening to this, what if they're in like corporate or what if they just got fired from their job? Hello. Yeah. And they don't know what to do next. So like, can you walk us through like what you did and then what actually happened to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, so I was in corporate for 23 years. You guys, I was a ride or die corporate person. I always say, like, if I could have tattooed my company's name on my forehead, I would have.
Glad you didn't.
Yeah, I did. Glad I didn't. Thank God. And I had no idea what entrepreneurship ever was. And I was like a poster child in our company. And during the pandemic, you know, when you are making a lot of money in your corporate office and they have to make cuts and they look at the spreadsheet, a P&L sheet, they cut from the top down, and the top 10 of us got cut. You know, VP of sales, CPAs, CMOs, like all the top dogs.
That's so wild to me. I feel like you would go from the bottom up.
No, because they can get 3 of us to do our job, right? They know how it is. So I lost my job, and I was literally like, I lost my identity, I lost my laptop, I lost my car. Like I literally lost everything.
Overnight?
Like on a random Tuesday. Like I lost everything.
Wow. Okay.
I turned it all in, and I remember calling my sister and being like, "Can you come pick me up?" Like I literally don't even have a car to drive home in. And I called my dad and I was like, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. And he was like, you have a God-given talent for sales, so you're literally going to be totally okay. Whether you are a real estate agent, you go be a bartender, you know, you go do something down the street, like you'll be fine. And I figured it out, and I lost my job on a Tuesday. I created my first Facebook video on a Thursday, so just 2 days later, and I just like got to work. There was no plan B after that. And I also knew I would never put my income in somebody else's hands again.
Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to just take you back to that moment though really quickly. Like when you got fired, like what went through your head? Like what was your emotions in that moment?
Yeah, my emotions in that moment were I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I'm scared, but I also will never sit across from the table again from anybody and allow them to take my like livelihood, my paycheck, like my lifeline away anymore. So I don't know what this is going to look like, whether I go be like a realtor on my own or I go like open up some kind of like brick and mortar or I open a franchise or something, but I will be my own boss from here on out. So that's really what I did. But I was in a really unique place. I mean, kind of like you in the online space. I was in a really unique place during the pandemic that everyone was moving online and I was watching it and everyone was really bad at sales, and I would just, my feed was just inundated with it.
People are still bad at sales.
Yeah, I mean, they still are. So that's why I have a job.
You love it. I hate it, but here we are. Anyway.
And I was just like, you know, if I can just basically just take all these people that are online and then bring them to my Facebook group and just create a bunch of like free content for them. So that's what I did. I started a Facebook group, and I basically just gave people like a bunch of sales tips for free in my Facebook group. I was so cringe. I didn't know what I was doing. I like literally did not know how to create content. And I started in my Facebook group. And my Facebook group is what grew me to my first 6 figures. Then after my first 6 figures in my Facebook group, then I went on to Instagram.
Boom. Okay. Well, okay. So this is like kind of a new thing I'm trying. And I asked the world of Instagram to give us questions for you.
I'm obsessed.
So I'm really excited. Okay. The first one kind of really came from you because I really want to talk about this first and foremost to knock it out. And then we're going to go into the questions. But you've got this signature concept that I love, the 5 types of people you need to embody for sales to come in. Can you walk us through those and why that matters so much in the online space?
Yeah. So I feel like when you are in the online space, you are creating content, but you're not doing like all the different types of content that you need to be doing. So I'm just going to walk through them really quick. Number 1 is like your authoritative content, which I know you talk a ton about as well, which can be, you know, face to camera for sure. But if you're not a face to camera girly or boy, like I get it.
But go ahead.
Yeah. But if it's not, like we can work on that. But first, like do it with some carousels, do it with something, but teach your audience something.
Yeah.
Even if it's like basic bitch shit at the beginning, like 3 tips or 5 tips or whatever, like just start being a teacher and giving your audience things that they can get free wins from just on your content.
Yeah.
So again, like authoritative, like teacher type content. That's number 1. Number 2 is like role model type of content. How are you embodying whatever it is that you are trying to do, right? So for me, for an example, I teach DM selling. So I'm going to show every day that I'm like DM selling. I'm going to show screenshots of how I'm DM selling. I'm going to talk about how I just DM sold someone at the gym, like in between bicep curls. Like I'm going to be a role model for people that want to learn the thing in which I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to be a role model in other aspects of my life. So like I talk about consistency, but I also show consistency in like going to the gym every day. I show consistency in being in my content. I show consistency in friendships, relationships. So it's like, what are you also being a role model for in other things? Number 3 is like best friend type of content.
Yes.
People buy from people and people buy from humans. And as I'm saying these, like you guys, Shelby knocks all of these out of the park. Like best friend type of content. People buy from people. So like, who are you showing as a human? Like, would you work with this person? Would you go to brunch with this person? Would you go on vacation with this person? Like, I only am going to hire someone that I like would like travel with or like riff with or like go to brunch with. So like, who are you on the other side of what you do? Because there's a million of you in whatever it is that you do, right? I'm really fortunate. There's not a lot of sales coaches, but there's a lot of
Well, there might be
else.
a lot of sales coaches, but not a lot of, we got to put it in there like good sales coaches.
So that's like number 3. Number 4 is, I call this like best friend content plus. And best friend content plus is like the tough love that you would say to your girlfriend if you were next to them. So like you and I were spending some time together the last couple of days. We were traveling and like you even gave me like some tough love on like my team and like my finances. And it's like, hey, if you want to go here, this is what you have to do. So it's like, you guys, I need you guys to activate your audience and show them like, if this is what you want, you have to do this.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 really go hand in hand. You can kind of put them together, but it's like your sales and marketing content. So this is like your social proof. This is your testimonials. This is how you help other people. This is like what you've done for yourself, like all of that. And I'll tell you, the sales and marketing is the easiest ones. I know it sounds the hardest. It's the easiest ones if all those other ones are done on repeat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, boom. Damn, mic drop. Okay, the end. Thank you. If you like this episode, please like, comment, and share.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm kidding. Okay, you actually said something, so I'm going to put these down for a minute. You actually said something recently, and it's literally what I love the most about you is harsh, being like straight to the point. So you're best friend plus, right? Can you walk people through like why that's so important to put people in your life that will allow to give that type of advice. For example, when you are picking a coach, you don't want just a cookie cutter coach. If you're picking someone that you're strategically partnering with, you need someone that's going to help you grow and align. Like, can you talk about it from your perspective of like why that's so important and why do you align with so many people like that?
Yeah, well, number one, I think no matter what you're doing in business or in friendships, you did not come to whatever it is that you're doing to like stay small. And you also didn't come here to like stay in the same place that you're in. So you're only going to grow to the place in which you're in. And you should also pick people or coaches or mentors that aren't your strengths, right? And they're going to also expand you. And also when you start to have other conversations, but also pick people that aren't afraid to also give it to you straight. I don't want my friends or I don't want my dinner partners or my peers to be like, oh my God, Jillian, like you're doing a really great job. Or like, I'm really proud of you. I want them to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you need to hire someone. Like go figure out your books, like whatever that is, because that's going to make me actually be better. This is actually a real conversation you guys we had.
Oh my God.
So it's like,
that's me. She's calling out.
So
okay.
it's like, but that's what I want because then one, I have someone to keep me accountable. And also like those are the people that I want to also push me farther.
Yeah.
And I also feel like there's so many coaches in this space that aren't willing to have those hard conversations with their clients. They're just like, oh yeah, your content looks really good. Or I really like your offer. And it's like, no, it's actually garbage that they're putting out. And if you're really good at what you do, then you should not be afraid to like tough love your clients, but also like hold them with grace. But like, be okay to like hurt your clients' feelings sometimes. Like that's what they're actually paying you for.
Yeah. If they were paying you to just be nice and cookie cutter, then like you're not trying to actually get results from that.
Yeah, exactly.
I just find that like if anybody hires me or Jillian, like I don't know, we met last year in person once, and then we just saw each other at an event in April, and then we've got to know each other really just this trip because like, I was able to dive into her business, she was able to dive into my business, and you know what? Honestly, I don't get my feelings hurt because we don't have time to get our feelings hurt. Like if you're trying to build an empire, which both of us are doing, it's like this is what's working for me, and then she's like this is what's working for me, and we kind of just like trade off. So like if you don't have friends like that, first off, you don't need more friends to go drink with or like to go kumbaya with. You need friends that are going to push you outside of your comfort zone and like build you up.
Yeah. And also, I also want to say this too, like you should also have friends in your life or peers or, you know, whatever it is in the online space that also aren't afraid to like gatekeep stuff, right? Because you should also be surrounded by people that are willing to like pull out their content or pull out their books or pull out their whiteboard and be like, hey, let me actually help you, because I've been in a lot of circles or a lot of masterminds with people that are my peers in air quotes or my friends in air quotes, but they're not opening up their world to me or their books to me or their finances to me.
I don't even understand why they wouldn't.
Right? Like just why wouldn't? Like they gatekeep so much stuff, and it's like I'm in this room to do it. And like one of the things that I appreciated even so much about you on this trip is you were like, hey, let me tell you like what I'm doing. Here's my bookkeeper. Here's someone on my team. Like let me whiteboard it out, and like it's only going to help other people grow quicker. So it's like, don't also gatekeep it.
No, because you need something from them too, most likely. And if you treat them with respect and you are willing to teach them how you did something, like the same thing with you. I'm telling you how to do this and you're telling me how to do this. Like, I just find that it's odd, but like people are dumb. So whatever, we're just going to move on. Okay. Let's just go there, right? How do you actually convert on your stories without sounding desperate and salesy? Because everyone's saying show up but no one's actually selling. So like, for example, if people like for the longest time, I hate selling. Let's just be honest. Yeah. Like I hate selling. So like what's your biggest like piece of advice when it comes to selling in your stories and then converting in the DMs?
Yeah. So I love this question. I get this question probably on every podcast that I'm in. You know, I've sold over $1 million in DMs, and people say like, how do you sell so much in the DMs? And my answer is always the same, because I'm not trying to sell in the DMs. I'm not going in with this like weird, aggressive, salesy energy. I'm not going in like trying to like manipulate the conversation. I'm not going in and being like, how can I get something out of this? Number one, I'm always going in with service first. Yeah. Like, how can I serve this person? What can I do for them? How can I make their life better? That's like number one. And then number two is I'm asking really great questions, because I need people to buy in to their idea before I ever offer it. So usually the reason you feel really salesy or slimy or whatever it is word you want to put is because you haven't figured out how to do that. And again, you guys, it's not that hard, but you need to work with someone that can actually teach you like the right questions to ask and how to do it. And the other thing is like slow down. Like people buy on their timeline. They don't buy because you have a launch going on. They don't buy because you have an event going on. They don't buy because you need to make 5K by the end of the month. Like they literally don't care what you have going on. They buy when they're ready. So you need to like slow down and just serve people and know that they're going to buy, whether it's this week, next week, 6 months, or 9 months, and then just continue to serve them. And I do a ton of value in advance, which means like I will serve someone far in advance, and then I know that it's going to come back tenfold, very back.
I think a lot of people are just so scared to like, okay, a lot of times in like my world, and I want you to give advice on this because I hear it all the time. And sometimes I need to hear it from someone else. We talked about this earlier today in our networking group. And it's more like they're scared to show up because the perception of others will have of them. And if they feel too salesy, or if they just talk about what they have to offer, or the value that they give, or the problem that they solve, like what would you say to someone if they were like, I'm just scared of what Sally from high school thinks?
Yeah. So number one, it's like if you're worried about someone specifically, like on your stories that's following you, or they're like in your head every single time you go on your stories, like I would 100% encourage you to remove them.
Yeah.
Like, can I tell you guys like a real story?
Yes.
So my mom comments on all of my Instagram stories because I have fake boobs, and a lot of times like they're showing. And for the longest time, my mom would comment on my stories. Jillian, pull up your shirt, cover up your boobs, like your tatas or whatever, right? She would always comment. And I love my mom like more than life. She's like my favorite human in the world. But there was a point for like 6 months, I literally blocked my mom on social, because what was happening is every time I would go on stories or I would go to create content, my mom was in my head. And I was so worried, like, is my mom watching my stories? Are my boobs showing? Like, should I cover it up? And it was stopping me from actually getting my message out to the people who were actually needing to hear it, or the people that I needed to say it to. So I was like, I need to actually remove this person. So if you're worried about your sister, your mom, your dad, your brother, Sally from high school, and they're not your ideal client, I 100% encourage you to block them. And my mom literally said, did you remove me on your social media? And I was like, yes, mom, because every time I'm trying to show up and do my job, you are literally in my head and it's stopping me. And guess what? Sally from high school is never even going to ask you. My mom asked me because she's my mom.
Yeah. And honestly, just block and delete, or leave them and let them engage, and then you can get great engagement. You said something a while ago, which actually reminded me of what you said yesterday, and you've said this multiple times. You sell in the DMs, but you refuse to get on sales calls. Let's go there and tell people, when did you discover the fact that you don't like sales calls? Why don't you get on sales calls? And what would you, let's just start with that first because I have more questions.
So I think whenever people hear that I don't get on sales calls, they instantly think like, oh, she's too good to get on sales calls, or she's on a pedestal, so she's like one of those coaches that doesn't get on sales calls. Number one, the reason that I don't get on sales calls is because it's not a great fit for my personality. And if you're getting on sales calls right now and you don't know where you're best and you don't know where your personality is, you need to first figure that out. So I'm just going to give you guys like an example with me. I'm very direct, I'm very brash, and I can get very frustrated with people on a sales call. For an example, like if I have an analytical buyer who's asking me like 87,000 questions, but I know that I can help them, I can't like cover my face on a Zoom call. I can't hide it. And they can see that I'm getting frustrated. They can see that I'm like, just buy. Like, what are you waiting for, right?
Like, I can help you, just buy.
I can help you, right? And they can see I'm losing my patience. But in the DMs, I can answer all those questions on a walk. I can answer them at the gym. I can answer them in my clay bath at night, right? Like I can do all of those things. So what happens is I can answer it when I feel better. The other thing is most people, this isn't me, but most people are not trained in sales. So when you're on a sales call and you're getting an objection out of left field, or you're getting inundated with questions that you don't actually know how to answer, you're like a deer in the headlights, and then you're just fumbling through your words because you haven't been on enough sales calls to actually learn it. But when you're in the DMs, you can actually stop and you can think and you can process it and you can know how to answer back. So you have so much more control over that.
Yeah.
So that's like the main reasons. But there's actually a third reason that people don't actually understand. When someone reaches out to you in the DM, so let's say I reach out to Shelby and I'm like, Shelby, my social media is on fire right now. I don't know what to do. I'm losing my mind and I need help. I am in what's called a bursting pipe moment. A bursting pipe moment like the pipe is bursting in my home.
I see where you're going. I'm here.
It's a bursting pipe moment. I'm like, I need it right now. And if you say to me, perfect, let me get you on a call. How is next Tuesday at 7 o'clock? By next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, I am no longer in a bursting pipe moment. I am in what's called a leaky faucet. Now it's just kind of like, it's kind of annoying. I don't really know if I need it, like all of those things. So you want to get people when they're literally in a bursting pipe moment, because if you don't, number one, the problem isn't as big anymore. Something else could have happened. They could have gone on to something else that they need. They could have another bursting pipe in their business that takes precedence over that. So you want to get people in the actual moment when their life, business, relationship, health, whatever it is actually on fire.
Wow. Okay. We can end it again right there. You did say something really good. And somebody actually submitted this question on Instagram, and it said, let's talk objections. You just talked about this. And so when someone says it's too expensive, I need to think about it, or just ghost, what do you say without begging or shrinking?
Yeah. So one, I'll never beg or I'll never shrink, but I always say that when you start to get objections, this is actually when the sales process begins. Because this is when you now get to actually dive in and you get to actually ask more questions and you get to figure out what the real reason is. So for most people, especially women, because most of us are people pleasers and we don't want to be confrontational, when someone says, oh, I need to think about it, or I'm not sure, I got to talk to my partner, my spouse, whatever, we're just like, okay, perfect, like just let me know or I'll be right here, right? But we actually need to take that time and we actually need to dive in deeper and ask better questions. And I think a lot of women, especially, like they don't want to ask more questions, but that's actually what they need, because the first objection is never the reason. So let's just use for an example, if somebody says like, I need to think about it, I'll say, hey, I absolutely understand and I agree, like this is a big decision and I want to make sure it's a good fit for me. I also want to make sure it's a good fit for you, but I'm just curious, what else do you have to think about? Because I'm pretty sure we answered all the questions and I just want to make sure that you have all the information so that when I follow up, we have all the, like everything answered.
My literal stomach just dropped. I don't know if I could do that, but I'm going to try next time.
You could totally do that.
I think 100%. Like, it's not rude. It's just legit. Okay, what would you say? Let's have fun, okay?
Okay.
It's your services are just too expensive.
Okay, so I would say, yes, we absolutely are one of the most expensive services on the market. Are you looking for more of a quality product, or are you looking for more of an inexpensive product?
Oh, okay.
So I would ask that.
Okay, if I said quality product.
I would say amazing. So I just want to make sure you're understanding you correctly. Like, you're interested in a quality product, and that's what we have.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, so pricing isn't really the issue then, correct?
Yes. I don't know where I'm going
right,
now.
So, right, so what
oh my God, so then you literally are
so what actually is
the issue?
What actually? So what I'm actually doing is I'm actually just like digging a little bit more. The thing is, most people aren't willing to actually do it, and what you want to do is you actually want to like pattern interrupt, and you want to get people thinking more about what they're actually saying, because usually the first thing that they're saying is not actually it. And what I'll do a lot of times, because I am a little bit more expensive to work with, I'll get them to do the math. So even today, right before this podcast, I met someone earlier today in your community, and she asked me about how much it was to work with me. So before I gave her the price point, I said, hey, let me ask you a question. How much is your main item? And she said, $300. And I said, okay, on average, how many of these do you sell a week? She said 3. I said, do you think we could take it from 3 to 10? And she was like, oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, okay, we just paid for the investment. Before I even like gave her the price point.
Yeah.
I need to get them to buy into the idea before I just like give someone the price point. So if you're getting a lot of price objections, it's because you're giving the price away way too soon, and you're not actually teaching them what the price actually equals.
Oh, that was really good.
Thanks.
Oh my God, everybody listening around, I feel like is shaking their head. Maybe not.
I've been doing this for a long time.
I can't even see everybody, but they're like, okay, all right. Okay, wow. I'm lost for a second. Not really, I'm kidding. I just love that you're just so direct. Number one, do you feel like you working with men for so long has like literally groomed you for this?
Yeah.
And what would you say to a woman that is like, you made me uncomfortable just now, and I'm just gonna be blunt and honest because that's how we are. Mm-hmm. How would you like encourage me to just show the hell up just like that and just know like the worth of my product?
Yeah. So the first thing is, when I work with women, I figure out what every woman wants, right? So like for you, if you were working with me and you said, hey, the way in which you sell makes me a little uncomfortable, that's a little direct, I would say, okay, let's find Shelby's selling style, right? What's a way that feels really good for you? Maybe you have a more of a laid back selling approach, or maybe you have more questions that you ask. Like, my sales approach is very direct, but all of my clients sell in a way that feels really aligned to them. That's why I'm very much against sales scripts. That's why I'm very much against doing anything. And also you have to remember that I can give, like, let's just say it was a sales script. I can give Shelby a sales script, and I can give Elena a sales script, and I can give me a sales script. And just our tonality is going to sound so different just based on who we are. You put in a little laugh, you put in a little like cheek and tongue. I'm very direct. Maybe Elena's a little more shy, and all three of us are going to say the exact same thing, but it's going to come out in a different very differently.
How do you give advice, like knowing that someone's like very confident in their work? Like, okay, so this doesn't sound weird because when I say it out loud, I'm like, that doesn't make sense, but you're going to understand, I think.
Totally,
I'm 100% have confidence in you, okay?
Yeah.
That you're confident that you're damn good at your job, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go to tell a price and they're like, oh, that's too luxury or whatever. Like, are you just like, okay, we'll go find it cheaper, you'll be back? Like, is that where you start doing the objections of like, okay, well, why? Like all those things. Because like women, sometimes they like belittle or like don't look at their worth as valuable as the price they're putting on it. So sometimes they're like, okay, well, we're going to do it as this price for you instead because they are hesitant. Yeah. What kind of advice would you give somebody like that?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is like, are you selling at a price point that feels really good for you? And have you evolved to that price point?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of consultants, there's a lot of agency owners out there that are pricing their stuff at what everybody else is selling at, but they haven't actually done the work to like say that price point yet, or even to receive that price point. And then they wonder why like they can't say it confidently or they can't receive it yet because they haven't like grown in to that price point. So I think for a lot of women especially, you have to pick a price point that you can say and you can like confidently stand into. And then I don't ever discount services, but I'll like bonus, right? So let's just go back to you for an example. Maybe you tell someone like, hey, my services are $10,000 a month to work with. Mm-hmm. And someone's like, oh, wow, that's way more expensive than I ever thought that, I could do. And you could be like, hey, we definitely don't discount our services, but would it be helpful for you if you got a one-on-one VIP session with me? I don't normally do this, but I really like have faith in your business. So a lot of times I'll add on a bonus instead of discounting services.
Love.
So you still stay at the right price point, but you add on something else.
Oh my God. So you're so proud of me from earlier when you were in the car when I did that
100%.
In my DMs. I did it in my DMs.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Yeah.
We sold the ticket.
Yeah, I heard you say
Okay, I was like, I just need you to say good job.
Yeah, great job.
Okay, thanks.
I'm very proud of you. And also, you guys, like when I first started coaching, one-on-one coaching, I was $200 a month for 4 calls. And I'm well into like mid 4 figures now to work with. So just think about that, like how much that has changed. So like you don't just come out of the gate and start charging a lot. Like you have to work into it. And also like your results are going to start to get you there. And your street cred's going to start to get you there. And your visibility is going to start to get you there. So like the work in which you do along the way is then going to dictate a lot of times the price in which you ask for.
Also, too, I think that's something that's super important is like the price that you actually put out there and you attract are the people that you actually want to work with. So for example, you put this quote, it's in the book we're both reading, the quote that you put it on your Instagram where it's like your $500 client's going to be like, what, can you go? You just explain
so your $500, I actually just did an Instagram story literally about this before we walked in here today. Your $500 client is going to ask you a million questions.
Yes.
How many calls? Do I get call recordings? Do I have access to you? Is there a payment plan? Like they're going to ask you 87,000 questions, and a $50,000 client is going to be like money sent. Like when do we start? And I literally just did an Instagram story on this today because I just had 2 multi-7-figure people invest in me this week.
Yes.
And both of them were like, I have a couple questions. How does this work? What's the investment? Here it is. And it's not that they invested at that price point because they have more money. They invested that price point because they understand 2 things, speed and proximity. And while you guys are all like screwing around and trying to ask a million questions, they are literally jumping over you 10 times fold because they've figured it out, they found the solution, and they get right to work. Where a lot of you guys are still like asking a million questions, and this person's already like jumped over you 10 times and gotten to the results to solve the problem.
So bottom line is you get what you pay for.
100%.
Without bitching about it.
Yeah. Like we have no low tickets in our world.
And I love that. And you know what? You actually pushed me to be like, you know what? I'm confident in the prices that we have right now. Because even like talking about DGML, that's a huge jump from just year 1 to year 3.
Huge.
Or even like last year to this year. But it really is the point where like I wanted certain business owners in their high level that don't blink because we're pouring into them as like, we're rolling up our sleeves. I'm bringing the best of the best, the ones that are in the trenches, the ones that are going to teach you, that are not going to gatekeep. So like, if you're listening to this and you're a woman in business or just in business in general, because Jillian loves to work with dudes too, but truly like own your worth and like be confident in the price that you do put, because if you do have the street cred, like I shouldn't blink at the price increase that we just did because we have the street cred. I've been doing this for a freaking long time.
Yeah, and I also think too, like let's just talk about DGML for a second.
Yeah.
Like let's just use me for an example. Like you're bringing me in to workshop, right? A 90-minute session with me is $2,000 if somebody wants to buy it. So think about all those people that you have coming in for one day to workshop them. If they were to buy them all a la carte, what would it cost them?
Yeah.
Like they are getting such a steal by coming into one room and also getting it all done at one time.
Yes.
And if the people don't understand that and you have to sell it to them, it's not the right client for that room because they don't get it and they're never going to understand it.
No, because it's also like we're at the point in our life and in our business that we're like willing to teach and like only to people that are ready to execute and implement. Otherwise, like I'm not like DGML at one point, and I'm very grateful I wouldn't change anything from last year, but some of it was like who's actually going to be there, the who's, it's just motivation. Like, hey, I was there. This year, I only want you in the room if you are willing to implement into your business. Like, and the people that I put on stage, like I want y'all to get clients out of it because I know that y'all are the best in the business that do what you do. So like, it's so cool that the room that we are crafting, and I'm being very proud behind it and saying like, this is the price, like this is what it is. And if I don't fill it, and I've like completely surrendered and said like, if I fill it at this price, then that's amazing. And if I don't, those are the people that are supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, especially like we were having that conversation earlier, like the people that are coming are legit great human beings that are ready to move the needle in their business. And I think when you have a product, if you're listening to this, if you have a product or a service that is at that caliber, the people that invest in your world are people that are actually ready to move the needle in their business.
Yeah. And, we were at a networking thing earlier today and, somebody had kept saying like, the economy is slow, people aren't buying. And it wasn't my place to challenge this yet, but I'm telling you right now, people are buying.
People are buying.
And the economy is not slow. You walk into any mall, you watch a lot of coaches online, people are having huge months, people are having the biggest years of their lives, and stores are still selling products. So you get to decide which side of the coin you're on. And if you're telling yourself that it's slow right now, it's slow. So which side of camp are you going to be on? I wake up every single day and I'm like, people are buying and people are going to buy from me today. And guess what? People buy from me every day. But if I wake up every day and I'm like, oh, it's slow, nobody's buying, tariffs, politics, this person's in office, whatever, then that's the energy that you're going to be in. So pick your camp and keep your head down and get to work.
Yeah. Like God didn't give you a purpose to be an entrepreneur if you're just going to like be negative, because it sucks. Like you can get into the trenches and you can want to burn that shit to the ground. And then you're like, well, how do I get out of this? But like you have an opportunity every single day to show up positive. Yeah. Okay. Another one that we know is a big thing, and you're going to be like, oh, whatever. I don't want to be annoying.
Yeah. Oh, that's the question. I thought you were saying you don't want to be
already annoying. People call me annoying, so we're way past that. But how do you help clients sell without feeling pushy? Like or just basically if they come to you and they say, Jillian, I don't want to be annoying on the internet. Like, I know we talked about this kind of, but like this is like an actual verbiage from someone that says like, I feel like I'm annoying. Like, what would you tell them? Yeah.
So number one, I would say like, what do you feel like annoying is? And I would ask them that question back, right? So let's say they say, well, I feel like whatever. So let's role play here. So
okay. Right? I feel like I don't know, because I already know I'm annoying as hell.
Okay, so like,
oh my God, I feel like I'm so annoying that people are going to unfollow me or not buy from me.
Okay, so the people that are going to unfollow you or not buy from you are not actually your clients anyways. Boom. So that's absolutely okay. But if it's like a certain characteristic, like let's say they're like, okay, well, I feel like I'm annoying when I'm like playing with my hair. I feel like I'm annoying when I'm like doing this. It's like, well, then don't do that, right? People say this to me all the time. They're like, oh, I don't want to be salesy. I'm like, well, what do you think salesy is? Well, when I do this. Okay, well then like, let's not do that. Let's get to the root of what you feel like that thing is. And then also, is this just a story that you're making up in your head? Or has anybody ever said that you're annoying? Has anybody ever said that you're salesy? Like, what are those things? Like,
where's it coming from?
Like, where's this coming from? And that's probably other work that you have to do. And I'm definitely not a mindset coach, but there's other work that you probably need to do to figure out where that is actually coming from.
Yeah. So, for example, I just want you to paint the picture, because what I've learned too, having you in my world and just like watching you from afar, you know what I mean? Is like there's certain ways that you can sell. So what I've found like the sweet spot lately is like obviously being repetitive. I already knew this in my brain. And just sometimes we just need someone from the outside to tell us this, or just like kind of showing them what it's like to be in your world, or giving them the FOMO. Like you don't necessarily have to be like, hey, I have this product, it's this price, You could literally get on your stories and just say like, I had this client and we just talked about this, and you're not really selling, but you are selling. Can you talk about like it doesn't have to be like a used car salesman. It could be like a human being as a salesman.
Yeah. Okay. So I sell every single day on my stories. Within 24 hours, I'm talking about my offer. You guys, I have one offer. It's called Infinity. If you follow me on social media, every 24 hours is kind of like my rule of thumb. I'm going to be talking about it. But I'm never, ever going to be saying like, DM me the word Infinity or like book a call. I mean, I don't book calls, but I would never say that anyways.
I'm booking a call.
Right. But I'm not answering it. But what I would actually... But what I would actually say is like, let me tell you about a win that we're having in our Infinity community. Let me tell you about what's going on in our Infinity community. If you're challenged, I never say the word struggling because people don't want to know if they're struggling with something. So like if you're challenged with this thing right now, if you desire this in your world right now, I'm going to show client testimonials. Like I'm going to just be talking about it every day in my normal life. And then you're also building such brand awareness. I was on a podcast the other day with my friend Priya. I know you know her. And she said,
so sweet.
She's like, it was like the best compliment that she ever gave me. She said, I'm not in Infinity. I've never been in it, but I'm telling you, you talk about it so much that I could sell it verbatim. And it's like, that's what you want. You want to be talking about your offers that I could literally go today and sell DJ Mel to somebody. And I 100% could, right? But if you're just like, oh, my friend Shelby, she's like kind of got this thing. It's like this event. I'm not really sure what it is, but like you could message her. You want your audience to also be selling it for you because they're so excited about it. So when she said that, I was like, spot on. I'm doing a great job at this.
That's so good.
Yeah, I love.
Oh my God, I love her. She spoke at freaking Powerhouse last year, and she was like the word "just," and it was so freaking good.
She's literally the cutest.
I was
human.
so locked into her. She's so awesome.
Also, can we just talk about the fact that right now what we're doing, you guys, is we're literally giving PR to somebody else who's not even in this room. That's also like the power of like friends and other people. Like now, you guys are all probably going to go and like look her up on Instagram, and we're literally just giving her free PR because
hey girl,
she
we love
has helped us.
So and she's not even from. Where is she from? Where does she live?
Oh, I think she lives in like Colombia or something, somewhere far away.
Yeah.
Not in the States.
Yeah. Okay. Screw these questions. I have another question for you. What have you seen? Because you are literally not scared to invest in your business.
No.
Quite literally at all.
No.
So can you give someone like just like an overview of how much you spent this year in investing in your business? You don't have to say like a number. Just say give us some kind of tangible.
Yeah. So we're halfway through the year. I've invested over 6 figures.
Okay. What have you seen when did you actually start investing in your business? Like truly?
Yeah. So I lost my job on a Tuesday. I hired my first coach on a Thursday.
Give me the year.
2000. So it's been 4 years. 2000.
Oh my God! Shut up. We're celebrating 4 years together. We started business together.
Yeah, 4 years.
Did you know that? Did I say that?
No, 4 years.
Oh my God, we're so aligned.
Yeah, and I've been in business, you guys, 4 years. And I've invested over $400,000.
I just think so. Did at any point? I feel like I already know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. At any point were you ever scared, being like, "Holy shit, that's a big number to invest in"? Like, am I actually gonna get a return?
Yes, 100%. And I will tell you that every investment that I've made has gotten bigger. And the feeling, it stays the same. Like whether it was my first investment ever, my first business coach was $8,000, or it was wiring close to $100,000 over last year. Like this thing is always the same. But I also will tell you this, and this is very uncommon for the online space. I've had the same mentor for 4 years. I do not coach hop. I always call it like sleep around with coaches. I'm not in like a billion masterminds. I'm not buying a bunch of courses. Like I am a ride or die. And I also think that's why I've had the growth that I've had. I like lock arms with someone and I like go the distance with them. So I don't have like shiny object syndrome. And I also only invest for what I need today. So I get pitched all the time like, hey, maybe you need PR, maybe you need copy, maybe you need this. And maybe I do need these things, but I don't need it right now. So I'm very like laser focused on like what I need. So I'll give you an example. 2025, my only goal is to make $1 million through webinars. That's my only goal. So the only thing I'm investing in 2025 is webinar growth. That's it. My webinar coach, ads to webinars, team to support the webinars, like webinar copy, like that's it. So anything else that comes into my world, it's not important right now because the only thing for growth in 2025 is webinars. So I just get very clear and very concise of like what the goal is and I just look down. But I feel like so many people are like basically having like 87 puzzle pieces on their table and they're just buying a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah, they're either buying a bunch of random ass shit or they don't even want to invest in their business because they're scared that something like might fail. Like, cool, well, it might fail anyway because you're running yourself ragged. And like, so when you invest in certain rooms, like, can you talk about like how being in these rooms has quite literally changed your life?
Yeah, 1,000% changed my life. So one, it's usually the mentorship that I'm in. Like, again, I'm paying for speed and I'm paying for proximity and I'm paying for their brains. Like I'm paying to learn from them who are literally decades ahead of me. I'm not talking about like just a couple years ahead of me, but then this is what I always say. My clients also get that, you know? So like my clients are always like, I feel like I'm getting coached by Chris. I'm like, you are, because like I'm literally taking what I learned, because I also don't gatekeep it, and I'm pulling it down. So every time I invest, my clients also learn from that, which is huge.
Yeah.
I've gotten on, you know, some great stages. I'm about to be on one of the biggest podcasts right now that's out there because I've invested in that room. But also, it isn't a direct ROI right away.
Right.
It takes time, right? I'm going to give you guys a really great example. I've been in Chris and Lori Harder's world for almost 4 years. I'm just now like having the opportunity to be on her podcast. Like it was a 4-year relationship that took. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to invest in this and I'm going to like pitch myself on this podcast. And I didn't even pitch myself. It was like I showed up in her room for 4 years and she saw me. She saw me growing. She saw me doing the work. She saw me being consistent. And then when she needed a sales coach to come on, Jillian Murphy was the only and obvious choice. So you can't just like invest in a room and like wipe your hands and be like, hey, nothing came of this. Also, every room that I invest in, I like work the room. I meet the people that are in there. How can I support you? What can I do? How can I have you on my podcast? How can I pour into you? Like, it's not like, what can they do for me? It's like, what can I do? So,
yes.
You know, I talk a lot about Jeff Fenster on my podcast. He's been like a great role model for me, but there's a thing that he calls like relationship bank. And it's like, you just need to build a bank of people. And if you can just serve people over and over and over, then when you need something, you can come back and pull and you can withdraw, but you've got to deposit into people first.
Yeah, because people just wanted a handout. And they honestly think that investing in your business one time or even for like 6 months is really going to like move the needle and it's going to like change their world. Like so many times people are like, how are you getting on these stages? How are you doing this? Well, I've been putting in the work for 4 years. I've been doing it for free. I've been stage swapping. I've been literally making content that shows I'm a speaker. Like I've done it, but right now to them, it looks like, oh, I just woke up one day and like people are paying me to speak. That's not how this works.
It's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
No.
So like if y'all are listening to this and you have like this pull in your heart that you know that you were meant for bigger and better and like you want speed, because like ultimately you need speed to get ahead of the game. And people have already done it. So why not pay the people to teach you how to do it faster? Because by the time you actually learn and then implement, you're way far behind the game anyway. But like get in Jillian's world, come to DGML. She's literally going to be there. She's going to pour into the mastermind group. She's going to have a keynote / Q&A with me on stage and from everybody. But like it truly is, it just is a no-brainer to me if you are in business. And like that's sometimes what I cannot wrap my head around. I'm like, dude, we're literally giving you this on a silver platter. Yeah. You literally have to pay $1,000 to be in the room, and you're getting Trent Shelton, Jillian Murphy, like me. You're getting Chris. Like you're getting so many people that have been here and in it right now. The hard time, the good time, everything building. If you just have a conversation, your life will change. Just a conversation. Yeah. Much less work with us.
Yeah, and I also think too, like, how many of you guys are listening to this podcast right now, and you've been going to events, but you've been going to the same ones? Like, quit going to the same events. Quit flying to Scottsdale or flying to Atlanta or flying to Detroit and going to the same events. Like, get into different rooms. Get into places where you don't know anyone. I mean, you and I were driving today to, we were going to New Orleans, and you were going to Trent's event. And you guys, I live in Scottsdale. It's not easy for me to get to, is this event in Texas or whatever?
It's in Dallas, yeah.
In Dallas, right? And I was like, you know what? I don't know this room. I don't know him. I don't know anybody in it. I literally pulled up my phone and booked a ticket. Why? Because I just need to make one connection in that room. I just need to meet one person. I just need to hang out with Shelby a little bit more, or, hang out with someone else. Like, you guys get into different rooms. If you're always in the same circle, you're going to exhaust that same room.
I will say this, because a lot of times what people say, they'll look from the outside in and they'll see us, online. They're like, they have their shit together. They've gotten to this point. And I said this very openly yesterday, like, I don't have time for more friends. Yeah. My friends now are strategic. Same. But at the same time, I can tell when you're a bullshitter, and I can tell when you use me. And so like, I'm not down for that. And so like, if you are somebody that wants to speak, if you are somebody that wants to get in rooms, or do you want to like scale your business with sales, like how can you actually assist us? Like, how are you bringing something to the table for us to pour back into you to strategically align with one another? Like, is your community someone I can sell to, and vice versa? Because like, I am down to cross-pollinate. Like, that is the way you grow organically. And I just think that that's so important. I mean, what is your take on like strategic partnerships?
Yeah, I think strategic partnerships are amazing. And again, I think no one really needs necessarily more friends.
I don't want friends.
I think you meet some friends along the way, but I also think those people are like you and I were talking, like it's like people who you're like coming up with, and I think that's what's even like more important. But I also think like if you want to get on stages right now, or you want to speak, or you want to do those things, like you need to make the ask of how you can support them. So I'm going to use our friend Taylor for a great example, right? So I was not speaking on Taylor's stage at all. I was not part of her lineup whatsoever, and I didn't even really know Taylor that well. We were just kind of like friends on Instagram, and I reached out to Taylor and I said, hey, I know you have an event coming up in Florida. I have a pretty decent sized community down in that area. I'd love to just bring you on my podcast, and you can totally like pitch your event on my podcast, like no questions asked. So she came on my podcast, totally pitched for free. Then someone on her stage actually backed out last minute, and she was like, hey, can you fly in and speak on my panel and do a Q&A? Because guess what? I served her first. Then from there, you were there. I got to hang out with you. Then you asked me to speak at DGML. From there, Peyton asked me to speak. From there, Michelle Thames asked me to speak. I met my copywriter there. Like, so many things happened, but I had to ask, like, I had to serve her first.
You had to give.
Right? And I also want to say this. It's not like just doing it to see what you get after.
Exactly.
It might have happened this year, but it might have happened 2 years. It might have never happened. So go into it with a genuine heart of how you can serve people, because you never also know where it's going to go. But just serve people like from your truest heart, and then just see where it lays.
Yeah.
If you have enough conversations and you just serve people, I'm telling you, your business will look totally different 6 months from now.
100%. And honestly, it could, like, even though you gave to Taylor, it could have been someone else that, you know, gave back to you. Where in that moment, guys, it's not always the person that you serve, but keep serving. Go in with like, if I don't get it, like that's fine, but I'm going to be at top of mind because truly I gave to them. So anyway, I think I literally covered everything. So
it's amazing.
How do you feel about that?
This was such a great time. I
Girl,
love
48 hours in Louisiana.
It was so much fun.
She's like, oh my God, my hair's going to be big. I'm like,
oh my God, you guys,
big.
my hair was so big yesterday, and we were in like
it was not big at all.
And we were in like a monsoon.
Oh my God, on the way back, I thought I was going to kill us both, but I'm glad we didn't. We're alive and well. I did take her on a road trip. She is 2 hours behind us. So every time I picked you up, it was like 5 a.m., her normal time. And she's like, I'm tired. I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, I'm a little sleepy.
And her flight almost got canceled, and she would have had to stay one more night. And she probably been like, I will drive to Scottsdale. Anyway. All right. Tell everybody where they can find you. How can they work with you? All the things.
You can find me on Instagram at the Jillian Murphy. Come over, say hello, slide into my DMs. I won't pitch you. I just want to like hang out and get to know you. I'm going to be at DGML, so come up to me and give me a hug there, and then hang out on the podcast, Scale Your Sales podcast. We just had Shelby on last week. Go over, check out our episode. It was so good, and I just want to say like thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely,
it was great to be in town with you, and also just to like be on your show and hang out with your community.
If you like this episode, please like, share, comment, leave us a review, and until next time, let's freaking get it.